Hey guys, Robert's Ride Shop. So, here we are, MGS Customs up in Lancaster. These guys are nice enough to go ahead and agree to help us do some dyno testing here on the demo bike. We're going to try 3 different settings. We're going to start at stock, get some readings, then we're going to go ahead and change over to a pro circuit pipe, get some readings with that, and we've got a pod filter on it already because we pulled the KX65 shock off. We're using the ZX6R shock. We don't have room for the air box, so we're going to go ahead and run the uni pod filter on that and V-force reads and give that a reading, and then after that we're going to go ahead and switch over to a ported and polished cylinder that I've got, and that's going to be our stage 3. So we're actually going to try 3 different stages of performance and see what kind of readings we get on this bike. So here we go. I have to say, I feel a little out of place here. Alright guys, so we ran it pretty much stock configuration. We did go up to a 205 main jet. We're running that pod filter on there. Stock configuration 205 main jet with the pod filter. It came back at 13.18 horsepower, which is, it's pretty average for a KX65. So it's a good reading, good baseline reading. So next step, we're going to go ahead and put in the put on the pro circuit pipe and just run that with the pipe and the pod filter and see what kind of results we get with that. We just changed the reeds, put a V-force read in, and changed the secondary jet. And we actually lost power here. Usable power seems to be right there in the middle, and yeah, we actually lost power with the V-force reads.
Hey, what's going on? This is Chris, MGS Custom Bikes. We're here. We just dynoed a bike for Rob's Ride Shop, KX65. What we did, we took it through the paces. We went stock configuration. I'm talking stock everything. What we got there pretty much is maxed out at about 12.13 horsepower, 5.48 torque. Not too bad. If you look at the graph here, where we made a really big difference is right here between 10 and 11,000 RPMs. You got 10.79 horsepower on the stock configuration. On the full blown out with the ported cylinder and all the exhaust and reeds, it ended up at 14.02 horsepower. We went to, after we did the stock configuration, we tried it again, dynoed it, got the jetting right, and that actually made a pretty big difference. It was running pretty lean at that point. We got the jetting to about 13 air-fuel ratio, between 12 and 13, which is ideal for horsepower, and we got it about 2 horsepower, almost pretty much across the whole power band. Once we put the pipe, we also dynoed it, gained a little bit there. It kind of lost a little bit towards the top end, but we gained a lot in the mid-range area, which is pretty much where you're going to be riding your bike anyway. So as far as I can tell with that, what I can recommend is your best situation when you're just starting out is as soon as you can, get that pipe on, get that air filter on, and get it jetted. You'll love the way the bike rides. Once you're ready to step up to the next level, let me tell you, man, this ported cylinder made some impressive gains. I'm talking 40% gains. We went from 10 to 14 horsepower. And if you look at the graph, I mean, you're talking as early as 7,000 RPMs, and you get up to 9, it's huge. At 9, you're still almost 3.5 horsepower right at 9,000 RPMs, and up here towards the top at 11, again, another 3 horsepower right there. Definitely recommend that setup.
So I didn't get a chance really last night to put together a kind of a brief of what happened, but basically what we were seeing was, with a little bit of jetting, now keep in mind all this was at 3,000 foot level, we went from the stock 190 jetting to a 205 jetting on the main jet, and that got us really squared away on power as far as the stock configuration. Next we moved up to just putting the Pro Circuit pipe on there, and we found that the jetting needed to be changed a little bit on that, and we went up to like a 210 jet, and that's where we saw our ideal settings on that. And honestly, it didn't make much of a difference. It kind of smoothed out the power band, gave us a little bit more power on the low end, which we weren't really, expecting that much of a difference on that, so it wasn't a big surprise. I think the biggest thing that was a surprise to me was once we put that V-Force reed in there, we expected a lot more of a response from the bike. We expected it to just kind of smooth out the power band, because you definitely feel it when you're riding. It feels smoother. We didn't find that at all on the dyno. It didn't give us any indication that there was any difference at all between the stock reeds and the V-Force reeds. After that, we went ahead and put on this ported and polished cylinder that I've got, and that's where we saw our biggest impact. We went from usable power just before it dropped off. We were seeing it as like a 12 horsepower rating, but in the usable horsepower, like the biggest portion of the power band where we saw the most power was actually coming back at about 10.8 or something like that. We saw the biggest impact after we put that ported and polished cylinder on there. We actually saw it go up to about a 14.1. As a whole, it was a super successful day. I got some realistic readings that showed how just little things can make a difference, or little things that you think will make a difference will make no difference at all. So, that was the important thing for me, was so I could show people differences we see when we're, doing these little changes on the bikes. I mean, realistically, the stock bike, it runs pretty decently when it's jetted properly, but run that against a bike with a pipe and reeds and an intake, it really doesn't make a huge difference. That ported and polished cylinder, it made a monstrous difference. So things to keep in mind, and hopefully I can get a couple of you guys out there to try this bike out and see how it feels for you. Maybe we can start offering these ported polished cylinders as part of a package that we're going to offer everybody. Alright guys, see you out at the track.